Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vashadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Stotra Sata Shishimad His Divine Grace I.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Shishi Gaura Nityai Ki Jai Shishi Radha Vallabh Ki Jai Shishi Jagannath Baldeva Sudra Devi Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Nitya Gaur Premanande. Can you pass me that thermos, please? It's a little bit warm water there, see. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter number 29, Text number 60, 4.29.60. Narada Uvacha Yenaivarabhade karma Tenaiva mutra tatpuman Mungatehi avyavadhanena Lingena manasa swayam. Narada Uvacha Yenaivarabhade karma Tenaiva mutra tatpuman Mungatehi avyavadhanena Lingena manasa swayam. Narada Uvacha Yenaivarabhade karma Tenaiva mutra tatpuman Mungatehi avyavadhanena Lingena manasa swayam. Narada Uvacha Yenaivarabhade karma Tenaiva mutra tatpuman Mungatehi avyavadhanena Lingena manasa swayam. Narada Uvacha Yenaivarabhade karma Tenaiva mutra tatpuman Mungatehi avyavadhanena Lingena manasa swayam. Mataji? Narada Uvacha Yenaivarabhade karma Tenaiva mutra tatpuman Mungatehi avyavadhanena Lingena manasa swayam. Narada uvacha yenaivarabdhe karma tenaiva mutra tatpuman mungate hi avyavadhanena lingena manasa swayam. Narada uvacha. Narada said, Yena, by which, eva, certainly, arabdhe, begins, karma, fruitive activities, tena, by that body, eva, certainly, amutra, in the next life, tat, that, puman, the living entity, bhungate, enjoys, he, because, avyavadhanena, without any change, lingena, by the subtle body, manasa, by the mind, swayam, personally. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki. The great sage Narada continued, the living entity acts in a gross body in this life. This body is forced to act by the subtle body, composed of mind, intelligence and ego. After the gross body is lost, the subtle body after the gross body is lost, the subtle body is still there to enjoy or suffer. Thus, there is no change. Purport. The living entity has two kinds of body, the subtle body and the gross body. Actually, he enjoys through the subtle body, which is composed of mind, intelligence and ego. The gross body is the instrumental outer covering. When the gross body is lost or when it dies, the root of the gross body, the mind, intelligence and ego, continues and brings about another gross body. Although the gross bodies apparently change, the real root of the gross body, the subtle body of the mind, intelligence and ego, is always there. The subtle body's activities, by the pious or impious, be they pious or impious, create another situation for the living entity to enjoy or suffer in the next gross body. Thus, the subtle body continues, whereas the gross bodies change one after another. Since modern scientists and philosophers are too materialistic, and since their knowledge is taken away by the illusory energy, they cannot explain how the gross body is changing. The materialistic philosopher Darwin has tried to study the change of the gross body, but because he had no knowledge of either the subtle body or the soul, he could not clearly explain how the evolutionary process is going on. One may change the gross body, but he works in the subtle body. People cannot understand the activities of the subtle body, and consequently, they are bewildered as to how the actions of one gross body affect another gross body. The activities of the subtle body are also guided by the super soul, as explained in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text number 15. Sarvasya chaham hirde sannavisto matha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as super soul, is always guiding the individual soul always knows how to act according to the reactions of his past karma. This is probably the punchline. Let's read that again. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Super Soul is always guiding the individual soul always knows how to act according to the reactions of his past karma. In other words, the Super Soul reminds him to act in such a way. Therefore, although there is apparently a change in the gross body, there is a continuation between the lives of an individual soul. Om Ajnanati Mirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Nama Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine nirvisesha sunyavadi paschatya desa tarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, in this particular translation, verse, and also in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the transmigration of the soul, which most of us are quite familiar with it. That there is a gross body and there is a soft and there is a subtle body. The gross body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and the subtle body is made up of mind, intelligence, and false ego. Bhumi rapo nalo vayo kham mano buddhi revacha ahankara itiyame bhinna prakriti asthada. There are 8 elements in our in the body. So Srila Prabhupada explains about that. There are 5, if you like, there are 5 hardware, and there are 3 subtle software that makes this computer function. The software being mind, intelligence, and false ego, and the hardware being earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So then Srila Prabhupada explains that the gross body, of course, changes. Dehino ismin yata dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namohitare. Krishna explains this. So the gross body always changes, and at the end of life what happens? The subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego, accompanies the soul and then goes and takes another body. So the gross body is cremated or whatever, and then the subtle body accompanies the jiva and goes and takes another body, and that's the process of transmigration. Then Srila Prabhupada also gave us this example elsewhere, that if we are sitting, and then we are smelling rose fragrance, and there is a rose garden nearby, so we can smell the fragrance, but the rose is not coming to us, neither are we going to the rose. The rose is in the garden, we are sitting outside somewhere in the courtyard, but you can smell the fragrance of the rose. How are we able to smell the fragrance of the rose when the rose is not moving, neither we are moving? Is because the aroma is wafted in the air by the wind. So just as the wind carries the aroma of the rose to us, similarly the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego, together with the jiva, carries the jiva to the another body appropriate to his past karma. And then Prabhupada explains that in the next life, the jiva knows what to do based on his past karma, because the super soul reminds him. That's very interesting. The super soul, which always accompanies the jiva, in the next life reminds the jiva how to act, in other words, how to credit and debit his bank balance of karma, because the Paramatma is reminding him. The Paramatma reminds him what to do. So the elements of the gross body and the subtle body, relatively straightforward and simple for devotees, because we have had this many times. So I wanted to take this thread of understanding, that the body dies, of course, and the soul doesn't die. Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita quite explicitly. But this concept of trying to save life, and I just want to go a little bit deeper onto it. Especially at the present time, we see, with the global pandemic, there is all this news and statistics about how many people have lost their lives and how many people's life have been saved. Daily statistics. Definitely, it is saddening to see the phenomena, and hats off to the frontline workers, who are so dedicatedly working, in making a world a better place for us from a material point of view. But there's just so many statistics. But one thing that was interesting that caught my eye was the concept of saving lives. So actually, if we analyze it from our devotional lens, the definition of saving lives, actually from a material point of view, actually means what? It means nothing but delaying death. The concept of saving life from a material point of view is nothing but actually delaying death. Because death is for certain. No? Krishna tells us that for the body, there is no endurance, and for the soul, there is no death. So the body will die, undoubtedly. Nobody here disputes that the body will not die. So actually when we say we have saved a life, what it means is, we perhaps have saved a life and the death has not occurred from coronavirus or from some other virus or from some accident or from some other illness. That may have been managed, but the body will eventually die. So from a material lens, the point I'm making is death is defined by them as a means of delaying death, possibly delaying death, because actually again we know from Shastra point of view that death will also come whenever it's destined. So actually in one sense there is no delaying death from a devotional point of view as well. It will happen when it will happen. But at least from their lens, it is we have saved some life. So that's their concept. Now when we see from our devotional lens, for us, saving life means what? Saving life means not only perhaps delaying death, because in one sense we cannot delay death, it will come when it comes, but still we do our part of keeping the body and the soul together, keeping the body healthy so that we can utilize this body in the service of the Lord. So therefore, we do our exercise, we eat healthy, we sleep on time, we wake up on time. We do all those to keep the body healthy. So devotees make that effort, just as the materialist will also make the effort to save the life, to save the body. But we go one step further, and by saving life, our definition therefore becomes that we don't want the jiva to take another birth. So actually, for us, saving life means not to be reborn again. For billions and billions of lifetime, we have made this mistake of not remembering Krishna at the time of death. So as one of my friends was telling me, for the devotees, the fear is not whether we will die or not. Our biggest fear is, when we die this time, will we be able to remember Krishna? That's our fear. Because that will decide whether we take another birth or not. So from a devotee's point of view, saving life actually means saving the jiva from taking repeated birth and death again in the future. And hopefully that this death is the last death. And then we are not born again. Punarjanma ne na vidyate. We go back to Krishna and don't come back into this material world. So that's the difference. Now, so we can see in any case, even from the material point of view or from a devotional point of view, spiritual point of view, the attempt to save life is there. That similarity is there. We want to save the life, and we don't want people to die. Put it this way, nobody wants their loved ones to die, or for anybody to die for that matter. But we also see that there are people out there who are ready to kill. We definitely have heard of notorious murderers. They go and kill people for whatever reasons. For robbery or something going wrong. People kill people. So as much as we can see that the majority of the population will be working on the platform of saving a life, there are some criminals out there, demoniac people out there who actually also end up killing another person, which is really quite ghastly. Now, in that category, when we can see people killing people, again, majority will not be taking the action of taking the life of somebody that is close to them. Majority will not. Generally, they will shoot somebody on the street, or somebody has got really nuts in their heads, and then they will go and kill people in the school and all that. That thing will happen. But most of the time, people will try to preserve and protect their families, their loved ones, their friends and all that. That will be there. So even in the minority which go and kill people, even that the majority will not kill, their own kith and kin. They will generally be people that they are strangers to. But having said that, there is again, so if you look at this from zooming down in from the majority to the minority, there is still those rascals out there who will take the life of their closed ones, to their near and dear ones. There are also people out there. Now, one classic example of that, and this is where I want to focus today, one classic example of somebody attempting to take the life of their own child by so many means. One classic example of somebody trying to take the life of their own child by so many means is Hiranyakashipu. Amongst all those, people, and I'll recap. The whole purport here is about changing of the body, the subtle body doesn't change, and the jiva, of course, we know is always eternal. No? And then we go from one life to the other. Now there are some people who also, no, majority will not want people to die, but some will kill people. In that minority, there will be some rascals who will try to take the life of their own child. And one of those such demon is Hiranyakashipu. No? So then the question that comes to mind is, if our loved ones are, so we are so attached to them, then what propels such people to actually take this heinous action of taking the life of, somebody that's so close to them, especially in this case, when the person is their child? What propels them? What propels them? So, to understand that, philosophy tells us three things. There are three types of wills. One is God's will, the other is free will, and the third is evil. What's the difference? God's will, free will, and evil. E-V-I-L. So God's will, nothing happens without the sanction of the Lord. We know that. Okay, so that's there. Now, when the free will is given to the jiva, which is our minute independence, if our free will is in congruence, is in align with the will of the Lord, that action becomes devotional service. That's a devotee mentality. When our free will is aligned with the will of the Lord, that is called a devotee platform. And that's why we say that, when we say that for a pure devotee, there is oneness with the Supreme. What does that mean? That means that his desire and the desire of the Lord are the same. So therefore the free will has been, in other words, surrender means what? Surrender means that, oh my Lord, I'm surrendering my free will to your will. That's what it means. Surrender means I'm surrendering my free will to your will. And we see this in Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna at the beginning wanted to do things according to his will, that I don't want to fight, because these are my loved ones. He also had this problem. The people that he had to kill were his near and dear ones. Except that, they were demoniac in nature as well. So Krishna didn't want to take that fight. But at the end of Bhagavad Gita in chapter 16, when Krishna says, and Krishna respects Jiva's independence at all times and place and circumstances. Krishna always respects that. So after giving him the whole Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 16, Krishna tells Arjuna, I have given you the entire philosophy. I've explained I've answered all your questions. Two things he says. One, if something is still unclear, I'm happy to repeat. And thank God Arjuna didn't say that it's unclear, because otherwise we would have another 16 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and twice the length to complete our Bhakti Shastri and so on and so forth. So as it is, sometimes it's hard to complete 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Imagine having, 36 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, more devotional service. So anyway, jokes aside, Arjuna said, I have understood this. So Krishna, as a brilliant teacher, asked his students, have you understood this? I'm happy to repeat. Arjuna said, no, it's all clear. But what is interesting, what does Arjuna say at that point in time? Actually, even before that, Krishna says to Arjuna, then second point is that, now if you have understood what I have said, now you deliberate upon what I have said, and then you do accordingly. You deliberate on what I have said, and do as you desire. So there, the Lord shows us that he respects the jiva's independence, the free will. And then in return, what does Arjuna say? Arjuna says that, oh my Lord, I am going to do what is your will. And your will and your desire is for me to take up my Kshatriya duty, actually more than that, to do devotional service, because it's your instructions for me to fight, and therefore I will fight. So what is happening there? Krishna respects the jiva's individuality and jiva's independence and jiva's free will. And Arjuna's free will is now surrendered to Krishna's will. And therefore there is congruence, there is alignment. Now conversely, when the jiva's will, free will, is not aligned to Lord's will, that is of demoniac nature. That means we are not surrendered. That means that is a misuse of our free will. So there is a proper use of our free will, which makes us devotee, and there is an improper or misuse of our free will, which is against the Lord's will, and that starts, we start inculcating demoniac mentality. So the point, so going forward, the whether we are divine in nature or demoniac in nature, it's not so much upon how we look. In the past, those who were demoniac were perhaps more explicitly recognizable, because they will have many heads and horns and different kind of teeth and wearing skulls and ashes and whatever. You can know this is a demoniac person. Now in Kali Yuga, you will not find people who have got horns in their head, and then big teeth and 5 heads on the streets of Melbourne. You will not find that. So actually, whether we are divine or demoniac is not so much on a bodily appearance, but it is a state of mind. Whether we are divine or demoniac is a state of mind. And this Krishna tells us very, very elaborately in chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita. The divine and demoniac nature. There he says, it's the state of mind. So, back to the question. Don't forget the question. Our question for the day is, what propels a jiva to go and kill another person, especially if that person is his own child, as is the case of Hiranyakashipu. That's what we are trying to unravel today. Yeah? So first thing to note, therefore, is the divine and demoniac nature. That comes from misuse of our independence. Now, when we misuse our independence repeatedly, through a severe accumulation of the misuse of independence, through a severe accumulation of misuse of our free will, our demoniac mentality increases and increases and increases. Just as with the severe accumulation of our proper use of our free will, our divine mentality increases and increases and increases and increases. As an example, when we see snow on the mountain, and very soon we will, because we are getting into winter. When there is a flake of snow on the mountain top, what is the harm in a flake of snow? What harm can it do us? A flake of snow on the top of the mountain, what harm can it do us? Zero. Agree? Not much. It's just a flake of snow. So that's harmless. But that flake of snow, when it rolls from the mountain and gathers another flake of snow and another flake of snow and another flake of snow, very soon it's rolling up the top of the mountain and coming towards the bottom of the mountain. Then it starts gathering momentum and force and heaviness and quantity. Then it becomes little bigger. It becomes as bigger as, let's say a small rock. What harm can it do us? Possibly not much still, unless you pick it up and throw it on somebody. If it has solidified enough, it might, hurt him, but still perhaps not much. But eventually we know what happens. That flake of snow which was harmless at the top of the mountain, when it rolled and gathered more and more snowflakes, very soon it can become a snow avalanche. Snow avalanche means, big, massive snow that is falling from the mountain and it comes crashing to the ground. Now, if we therefore happen to fall in the path of that snow avalanche, it can destroy us. It can kill us. People have been killed of this. It can destroy a house. It can destroy landscape at the bottom of the mountain. And that's the weight. Now, what has happened here? That snowflake that was harmless has gathered momentum and so much of force and power that it can kill something. It can destroy something on its path. So similarly, we have that free will and we come with the divine quality. And we also, unfortunately also have got demoniac mentality in us, or at least for myself I can say. Then if we don't control that demoniac mentality that is there in the heart, if we let it loose, then gradually what will happen is that demoniac mentality gathers force, it will become like a demoniac snow avalanche, if you like. And then it can kill whatever comes in its path. So this is why, if you see the pastime of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj, both of their activities incomprehensible. Even Prahlad Maharaj's activity is incomprehensible to us. Why? Let's look at Prahlad Maharaj first, then we'll look at Hiranyakashipu. Devotees first, then demons. Yeah. Why is Prahlad Maharaj's activity incomprehensible? Prahlad Maharaj through gradual accumulation of his divine nature, that snowflake, which has now become, a snow avalanche, which is a positive snow avalanche, let's say, has intensified his bhakti so much. But where is he performing his bhakti? Even before that, before where he's performing his bhakti, let's put ourselves, we are all sadhakas, we try to do devotional service. And time to time, we get sufferings in our life. Some anxiety, some frustration, some problems, health problems, family problems, financial problems, job problems, something or the other. Some problem keeps coming in our life. And then when we are really devastated, when we are really, really down, then, putting on our hand on our head, and you say, why is this happening to me? After all, I'm performing devotional service. Why are bad things happening to good people? Why are bad things happening to good people? We have heard that many times. But when bad things happen to good people, that's when we start thinking, does philosophy really make sense? When it happens to us, or when it happens to somebody close to us, when bad things happen to good people, we start actually questioning again, why is it happening? We are doing devotional service and still all this is happening. So we start questioning. We start feeling little low on ourselves and all that. So, and we know that we have done, let's say sinful activities, forget our past lives, even in this life. It's hard to find somebody who can put the hand on the heart to say, I've been sinless in this life. So knowing that we have done something wrong in our present life, and still we lament and question, why is bad thing happening to me, and how is it happening to me when I'm doing devotional service? Therefore, it makes Prahlad Maharaj's devotional service really incomprehensible and incredible. Why? Because he has done no sin in this life. Prahlad has done no sin in this life, and on top of that, he is only doing devotional service and intensifying devotional service and by the time of the age of 5 years, he's become a pure devotee. Now he can sit down and question, why is this bad thing happening to me? Why is amongst everybody else my own father is killing me? I am chanting, Krishna's holy name every day, and my own father is hell-bent on killing me. He can question, but he doesn't. Why? Because he doesn't see Hiranyakashipu as his enemy. That's another subject matter. Why he doesn't curse? Because he doesn't see him as an enemy. A Paramahamsa sees no enemies. So Prahlad Maharaj is a Paramahamsa, so he doesn't see even Hiranyakashipu as his enemy. He sees everybody connected with Krishna. And when we see everything connected with Krishna, then we see Krishna only. So even in Hiranyakashipu, he is seeing something positive, that this is part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, he is not envious. Yeah. So coming back to the point, Prahlad Maharaj's devotional service is incredible because he is doing devotional service, in times and circumstances which is really, really, really challenging for him. I mean, people are killing him for doing devotional service, and he continues. And at a certain, young age. So through this pastime, we learn that bhakti is not dependent on age. Bhakti is not dependent on age. Bhakti is not dependent on anything material at all. Bhakti is not dependent on anything material, whether we have age, whether we are young, whether we are old. Prahlad Maharaj teaches us that we can continue to do devotional service. If Vibhishan in Ramayana could do devotional service when he had a demoniac brother, if Bali could do devotional service and become a pure devotee, although he had a demoniac guru, if Dhruva could do devotional service and become a pure devotee when his mother was a bad mother, Vibhishan became pure devotee, he had a bad brother. Bali Maharaj became a pure devotee, he had a bad guru. Dhruva became a pure devotee, he had a bad mother. Prahlad Maharaj became a pure devotee, he had a bad father. Sometimes we complain that our spouse is not good. Our parents are not conducive to devotional service. They are calling from India and then saying, why are you going to temple, Why are you doing, chanting on this? So then we come, and say, oh, my father said, don't go to the temple. My mother said, don't go to the temple. My friends in India are, making fun of me by saying, why have you, shaven your head? And why are your hands always in the chanting beads? Why are you not going to the movies? Why are you not going to the pubs? And we think again, their questions is quite valid. Should I be going to the pub little bit as well? No, we question like this. But here we see pastimes after pastimes after pastimes, when devotional service has been performed, notwithstanding such demoniac atmosphere and demoniac families. So what is our complaint? We have to continue. Such is life. So therefore, Prahlad Maharaj's devotional service and activity, I said, is incomprehensible. Now conversely, if we see Hiranyakashipu's activity is also incomprehensible. Because as a father, he's trying to kill his own son. We don't see this happening many times. The point I was making at the beginning of the class. We see people killing people, but a father killing his own son, especially if the son is such a pure devotee, is incomprehensible. But why is this happening? It is happening because the severe accumulation of misuse of the free will. And why is this? What is that Hiranyakashipu wants? That he is so addicted to misusing his free will. Prahlad is addicted to Krishna. Prahlad is addicted to Krishna. Hiranyakashipu is addicted to power. That's the difference. Hiranyakashipu is addicted to power. He wants to be the most powerful in the creation. Sometimes we see this in sports people, that if I'm the number 3, the next day I want to become number 2. If I'm number 2, in the world ranking, then I want to become number 1. Why? Because this is power again, prestige, that I'm on the top of the world. And we see this in the corporate ladder as well. If I'm a junior employee, then I want to become, little bit higher and higher and higher, and I want to keep scaling the ladders of the corporate, achievements. So that mentality is there. Hiranyakashipu, what he has accomplished is actually everything almost to the number 2. Because even the devatas are scared of him. Given his power, when he travels, the earth trembles and the demigods shake. But he's just almost, he's there. Except that, there's one more person above him, which is Lord Vishnu. So he wants to overpower Vishnu. And he's doing everything possible to overpower Vishnu. That is his mentality. Now this is the demoniac mentality. A free will that is not in congruence with the Lord's will. Because they can never be they can never be another god. Krishna's place as top of the ladder is, that part is static. Actually, maybe not, because devotees can become bigger than him. It was in Melbourne only, when Prabhupada was, he was lecturing at Melbourne Town Hall. And, one gentleman got up, and he also had this, addiction to power. So he asked Prabhupada, he said, Swamiji, can you make me God? And Prabhupada gave a brilliant answer. He said, I can't make you God, but I can make you higher than God. I can't make you God, but I can make you higher than God. And then he gives the example of, Yashoda Mata, Yashodama, and then pure devotees of the Lord. Pure devotees, Bhishmadev, they actually, in one sense, Krishna is controlled by the pure devotees. So in one sense, I can't make you God, but I can make you something bigger than God. In other words, become a pure devotee, you will forget about becoming a God. But such a brilliant answer, depending on the time, place, and circumstance. So anyway, so here we can see that Hiranyakashipu is addicted to power. He wants to become number 1. And if his own child is not helping him in the cause to become the number 1, then he's ready to kill him. This is the accumulation of demoniac mentality. Now, I'll talk about power as well, because this is what Hiranyakashipu wants, power, yeah? Power is, Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, that, I'm trying to kill you, I'm making all these arrangements to get you, of this kingdom, of this planet, because you are a nuisance in my endeavor to become the number 1. But tell me, what is the source of your power? Because I want to become the most powerful. Tell me, what is the source of your power? Now, Prahlad Maharaj gives an answer that on the face of it might seem little provocative, little foolish, it might seem to a layman. Because what is the answer he gives? He gives the answer that, oh my dear father, the source of my power, because of which you are failing to kill me, is the same source from which you are getting your power. The source of my power, which is Lord Vishnu, is the same source from where you are getting your power. Now this is like flagging, a red, waving a red flag, to a raging bull, because you don't want, to provocate people. So this, of course, Prahlad would know that this will infuriate Hiranyakashipu more, because he wants to get rid of Lord Vishnu in the first place. So why does Prahlad Maharaj give this answer? he gives this answer because I said two reasons. One, he doesn't see Hiranyakashipu, as an enemy. And more importantly, Prahlad Maharaj is speaking the truth to educate his father. Because he knows that his father is misusing his free will and he wants to educate him, and a devotee always preaches. So a devotee always preaches. He's preaching to his father to say, forget about getting the ambition of becoming the most powerful, because that is not possible. Know that the source of your power is the same source from which I'm getting my power. So just surrender unto him. Now, another thing is very interesting in this pastime, that although Prahlad Maharaj acknowledges and preaches to his father that the source of the power is same, which is Vishnu, if you look at actually the power of Prahlad Maharaj in one sense, in physical sense, it's nothing there. And I'll bring out the point by a contrast. You look at the power of Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna has got, he's the supreme archer. Nobody can match him. No, that is his power. That is the power that Krishna has given to Arjuna, and Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord, to say, with this power, you go and execute your devotional service. No, you can. So if somebody is, shooting an arrow to Arjuna, or somebody is trying to kill Arjuna, or somebody is trying to pull Arjuna into a pot of boiling oil, or somebody is throwing Arjuna from the top of the mountain, Arjuna would defend himself because he was powerful. But Arjuna acknowledges that my power is also coming from Krishna. So much so that when Krishna, wound up his pastime and went back to, his dham, Arjuna is incapable of actually fighting off with some, minor cowhead man when he is coming back from Dwarka to Hastinapur. And there Arjuna realizes that so far I've been able to be victorious and defeat, mighty enemies is because Krishna empowered me. So lessons we learn is that our source of power, whether it is to cook nicely, or to sing nicely, or to give nice lectures, or to be the best in the book distribution, whatever it might be, is nothing, Prabhupada says, but it is borrowed plumes. These are nothing but borrowed plumes. In other words, we have just borrowed this power from Krishna, or in other words, Krishna has just empowered us to that particular degree so that we can go and perform our devotional service. When it is not required, Krishna will take it back. Because power is not a requirement for us to go back to Godhead. Because back to Godhead, we don't need powers. There is no demons there to fight. There is no Maya Devi there to fight. So actually, it's not even a requirement. So Krishna shows us through the pastime of Arjuna that he can give us as much power as he wants and is necessary and appropriate for us to perform our devotional service. And conversely, in the case of Prahlad Maharaj, he also demonstrates that I might give you no power. If somebody throws you from the mountain, you won't be able to defend yourself. If somebody puts you in a pots of boiling oil, you won't be able to do anything from you. If somebody puts you, and gets you to embrace fire, you will not be able to do anything. But notwithstanding, you will not have any physical power to defend yourself. If you have faith in me, you will be protected. So the point is, to perform devotional service, we can have all the power like Arjuna and use it for Krishna's service. And we can have no power in one sense, physical power like Prahlad Maharaj, and still be dedicated to Krishna, being surrounded by demoniac people. So power, therefore there is no reason at any point of at any point in time for us to become proud, is the point. Because if we become proud generally comes when? Proud comes when we have done something very nicely. We think, I just nailed it. That day I just nailed it. And this is, even in devotional service, that false prestige, that sometimes we look for is coming because we have done something wonderful that others might not have been able to do. But then we have to quickly remember that it is nothing but something that Krishna has given us, and it can be taken back as well. And Prabhupada also showed us, went to America with 40 rupees, hardly anything, but Krishna made him, millionaire and a billionaire. So if required, Krishna will do whatever is required for us to perform our devotional service. Now, I'll speak on two more things and I'll finish. So far we have been talking about, because in the purport Prabhupada talks about that the body will always die, and the whole purport is in that, the body will always die, and the soul is ever eternal. So then, I was saying at the beginning that there is all this endeavor to save lives. People don't want people to die. And our frontline workers during the current pandemic are doing wonderful job, to the best of abilities to do that. And that's just in human nature to save life. But there's a difference between saving lives for materialists and for devotees. For us, saving life means not only delaying death, but also saving the jiva from taking another birth. So the difference in the definition and in our attempt. We don't want jiva to take another birth. We don't want to take another birth ourselves. If we can do that, then actually we have saved a life. So then we spoke about the cases when generally people don't want to kill people, but then we have got this classic example of a father trying to kill his own child. And that example is of Hiranyakashipu trying to kill his own devoted child. And then the question was, why does he do that? And then we discussed that it is a accumulation of misuse of the free will that creates the demoniac nature. And then when demoniac nature erupts us, it can take any form, to the form of even killing your own family. And that is really, really ghastly. So that's where we are. And then because of that thread, we started talking a little bit about the powers that were given to Hiranyakashipu for the power that he had accumulated and he was aspiring for, as contrast to the power that was given to Prahlad Maharaj, which was actually no power in one sense, but all the power in another sense, for them to do his devotional service. And then, because I have taken the thread, I just want to add two more points about Lord Narasimhadev. We know that Narasimhadev appeared from the pillar when Prahlad said, that Vishnu is also in this pillar. So we see that, Hiranyakashipu, Narasimhadev, upholds the words of his pure devotee. And we see this again and again and again in our scriptures, that the Lord never lets the words of his devotees fail. And that's why for us there is also faith, that Prabhupada said that you do your 16 rounds, and do at least your 16 rounds, and follow 4 regulative principles, and we will go back to Godhead. So we have faith in those words, because Prabhupada has said it, so Krishna has to fulfill. But if we do it sincerely, then we have hope that even if we don't become pure, Krishna might give us some stimulus package in our current crisis. So the Lord appears as Narasimhadev. Narasimhadev is half man, half lion, but full God. Narasimhadev is half man, half lion, full God. No doubts on that. Now, Narasimhadev, his appearance is strange in one sense, because it's a strange combination of man and lion. Reminds me, when Prabhupada was in America, I think it was Hayagriva Prabhu. Hayagriva Prabhu was the university lecturer, I think, from memory. Yeah, he was the university lecturer. So when he was lecturing at the university, he started teaching a little bit about Krishna consciousness, because, of course, he was coming to Srila Prabhupada. And the principal came to know. And the principal called Hayagriva Prabhu in his room and said, I heard that you were talking about God in the class. And in America, there's not much of education about God in universities. For that matter, there's no education about God in any universities, let alone be America. So he said, you were talking about God. So Hayagriva Prabhu said, yes, I am, because I didn't know that we are not supposed to talk about God. No, it's not illegal. He said, yeah, it is not illegal, you can, but the God that you are explaining to the students is very strange. It's a strange God. And Hayagriva Prabhu said, what is your conception of God? So the principal said that, I don't have any conception of God. So then Prabhu said that, if you don't have any conception of God, then how can you say that my conception is strange? You can only say something is strange if you have a conception. If you don't have it, then this is not strange. He said, it's strange in the sense, that you are telling, the students that God is a cowboy. And in America at that time, the cowboy was a big thing. No? He's saying that you are telling God students that your God is cowboy. I go, no, he's not a cowboy. He's a cow head boy. He's a cow head boy. He goes and heads the cows, in the Vrindavan. He's like that kind of cool dude, young boy, he's like that. And at that time, the racial thing was also very big in America, the white and the whites and the blacks. And then the principal said, and you are also telling, your students that God is black? Hayagriva said, no, God is not black. God is blue. Oh, Krishna. So, we take it for granted because we see Hiranyakashipu, and our Radha Vallabha, and all that, we become used to it. But if you go and tell somebody that God sleeps, on the bed of snakes, People will find this strange. People will find this strange, too far out. So Hiranyakashipu in one sense is actually far out, half man, half lion, full God. So, and God can do that. Anadi, Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Manantarupam Adhyam Purano Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Madurlabham Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So he's Advaitam. Advaitam. Dvaita means two, we know that, and Advaita means one. So in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma tells immediately that the Lord is one. He is Advaitam. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim, but he is Ananta Rupam. Ananta Rupam. He can take many forms. And one of that forms can be Lord Nrsimhadev as well. So Lord Nrsimha appears, to withhold, as I said, or not to withhold, to uphold, the vows of many devotees in this particular case. Firstly, what are the pastimes? Firstly, when Bhakta Prahlad was born, his mother said to Narad Muni, or requested to Narad Muni, that, "O dear sage, please bless the child that he is always protected." And Narad Muni said, "Tathastu," that it be so. So therefore, the Lord is always now protecting Prahlad Maharaj. Second reason is that Lord Brahma had given the benediction to Hiranyakashipu only, and we know that you will not be killed in the day, in the night, by a man, by an animal, in the air, in the ground, all that, not by a weapon, not by anything else, you will not be killed like that. And Hiranyakashipu said that I am now deathless. So then Nrsimhadev appears in a form to uphold the words of Lord Brahma as well, that you have given a promise which you didn't know what you were doing, even with your quadruple, processes, you didn't realize that Nrsimhadev is trying to, fool you, you didn't realize, and now I have to uphold your words, so I'll appear like this. And then the third reason is that Prahlad Maharaj says that, Hiranyakashipu, that, Vishnu is also in this pillar. Vishnu means what, Vish means the entire creation, and Anu means, very small, very minor particle. So Vishnu therefore means, that personality that pervades even, the minor particles, the atoms of the creation. So Vishnu means that personality that can pervade the entire creation. So what to speak of entire creation, Prahlad Maharaj is saying that, the Lord Vishnu is also in this pillar. And then, of course, when we know the story from there, so Lord Nrsimhadev appears here. So Lord Nrsimhadev comes to uphold the vows of his devotees always. And Bhishmadev also tells us this same principle we see, in Brahma Samhita. At the time of Bhishmadev leaving his body, when he makes that Bhishma Stuti prayers, in one of those prayers he says, how does it start? He says, Swanigamam apahaya mat pratignyam ritham adhikartum avapluto rathastha drita rata charano bhayachalad gur harir ivahantum ibam gatu Tatriya. Thank you, Mataji. I was forgetting a few words, but you guided me. Thank you. So what does he say? Now that Bhishmadev is saying, when he's about to leave his body, and he was also sleeping on the bed of Eros, that Swanigamam apahaya. Krishna, he's telling Krishna, because Krishna is present in front of him. He's saying, "Oh my Lord, Swanigamam apahaya. You made a vow before the battlefield of Kurukshetra that you will not fight. And I made a vow that whatever happens, I will make Krishna fight." No? So we know this pastime, we know this vow. So what? No, it's just the sweetness of Bhishmadev that's pouring out here that I just want to share, because I know we know this pastime. So what is Bhishmadev saying? That Swanigamam apaya, you sacrificed your Swanigam, yours. You sacrificed your own vows. But what did you do? Mat pratignya. Pratigya means, my vows. That you upheld my vows. And what did you do to uphold my vows? Ritham adhikartum avapluto rathastha. No, you got out of the chariot. Avapluto means get down. You got out, you got down from the chariot, because you were the charioteer of Arjuna. Then what did you do? Dhritam Ratha Charano, you took the Charano of the Ratha, means the wheel of the chariot. You picked up the wheel of the chariot. Dhritam Ratha Charano, Bhayat Chaladgur, and you ran towards me. And what kind of mood were you when you ran towards me? Then the last line starts with Harir ivahantu mibham gato tatriya. No, Harir means lion. Harir ivahantu means elephant. Hantu means to kill, and ibam means elephant. So just as a lion runs towards the elephant to kill the elephant, you similarly sacrificing your vow not to fight, but to uphold my vow that I will make you fight, got down from the rath, from the chariot, picked up the wheel of the chariot, and ran towards me just as a lion runs towards an elephant to kill him. Why? Just to uphold my vows. Just to uphold my vows. So similar, and then actually there also Bhishma Dev sees Krishna as almost like half lion, because you ran towards me like a lion, So that half lion is already there in Krishna, a little bit, what's the word, inherent, rather than explicit. So it's already there, that's the mood that Bhishma Dev is seeing Krishna in. So the Lord upholds, is Bhakta Vatsala, tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita that declare boldly, O Arjuna, that my devotees will never perish. So the Lord does that. Now the last point I wanted to make, and I'll stop there, is that this pastime of Prahlad Maharaj and Narasimha Dev, actually the beginning, this pastime in Canto 7 of Bhagavatam, it begins from the point that Narad Muni is asked the question, is God partial or not partial? That's the beginning of this pastime. Is God partial or not partial? And then Narad Muni explains this particular pastime to say that the Lord is equal. The Lord is equal. Why? Because the Lord is our Father and we are His children. Therefore, it is natural that the Father is equal to His children. But the God is not only equal, but He is also reciprocal. God is equal and God is reciprocal. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajameham. As you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. So God is equally disposed to everybody, but as we surrender, He reciprocates. As we surrender, He reciprocates. So He is reciprocal. So even when we see this pastime of Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, they actually both get to sit on the lap of the Lord. When Narasimha Dev comes, He is equal. Here is divine Prahlad Maharaj, and here is Hiranyakashipu. Both are equal. But the reciprocal is different. With Prahlad Maharaj, he comes across as his tender, sweet father. There's that loving nature that we expect in a devotional relationship. But Hiranyakashipu sees him as only death. But Krishna also tells us that those who remember me at the time of death will attain me without fail. Now, what is Hiranyakashipu looking when he is leaving his body? What is he looking? What is his darshan? The face of Narasimha Dev only. When he is leaving his body, he is looking at the face of Narasimha Dev only. So that's the last thing that he sees before he leaves his body. So therefore, the Lord has to be reciprocal to him in that form as well. But because Hiranyakashipu doesn't have that loving devotional service, but at least he's seeing the Lord. So the Lord gives him, as we say, as Gopavindas Prabhu was saying, that Narasimha Dev did the first open heart surgery. In his Narasimha Dev lecture, he was, on morning he was saying that the Lord did the first open heart surgery. And when he opens the heart of Hiranyakashipu and takes the heart out and then says, actually by now Hiranyakashipu is dead, but he says, to the heart, why have you kept this heart so dirty? I mean, don't you know that I reside in the heart? So at least clean up this heart at least, because I'm supposed to reside there. Don't make it so dirty. That's what he says, and throws the heart away. And then wears the garland of the intestine. Why that? That's another day. So then the point I was making that Hiranyakashipu left his body seeing Krishna, or seeing Narasimha Dev, so he also gets liberated. As we say, in this open heart surgery, the surgery, the operation was successful and the patient was delivered. The operation was successful and the patient got delivered. Patient got delivered back to the impersonal realizations of the Lord, because we know that whomever Krishna kills, he also gets liberated. So the point there was that the Lord is equal, Narad Muni is saying, but the Lord is reciprocal. Eyathamam prapadyante. So summarizing all that, and I'll stop, is that just as that small snowflake I was talking about can gather momentum and become so big, and Prahlad Maharaj demonstrates to us, if we do little, it will become a big devotional service. This is the proper and appropriate use of our free will. If we keep aligning it to Krishna's will, that free will will become very, very advanced in the devotional mentality, in the divine nature, rather than degrading into the demoniac nature. So how do we do this? If we can just utilize our free will in doing small Krishna consciousness activities, whatever we can, small, then gradually and surely it will gather momentum, and then we'll keep advancing as gradually we perform more devotional service. So whatever happens, time to time, even if a demoniac mentality comes in, and we actually even end up doing some demoniac activity, that does not mean that we have to stop doing divine activity. Because the more divine activity we do, the lesser demoniac mentality will be in their heart. Because divine and demoniac mentality is a state of mind. It is not that somebody is demoniac by physical appearance only. It is our inherent disposition in the heart. So we have to clean it up, that demoniac mentality. And if we do end up doing something that is not divine, Krishna tells us, because if we are surrendered to him, yathamam prapadyante, he will reciprocate to us at that particular level. For example, if you are driving on the road and we have told GPS that I want to go from here to there, and the GPS tells us. But sometimes we are just so busy, and traffic is rushing everywhere. Before COVID-19, everything was so busy. We might have forgotten that actually, but everything was just so busy, like just so speed. It was just months by months and year by year was flying through, and we didn't even realize that 20 years has gone into year 2000 only. Now, yesterday we were sitting down and looking at the sun that was supposed to rise at the beginning of the sun in year 2000. Remember? And there was that Y2K phenomena, that everything electronic will collapse. We have forgotten that because that seems like last century or something. Your watch will not work, your fridge will not work, your car will not work. We were fooled like that. But everything worked, So far we have gone away from year 2000. 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, Prabhuji, Mataji, was such a speed, So when we are driving on the road, from one point to the other, and GPS tells us do all this, but sometimes we take the wrong turn. Sometimes we take the wrong turn. But the way the GPS is all, it's a Guru Parampara system, the GPS. So the GPS knows that even if you take the wrong turn, it will recalibrate itself and tell you to get back to the route. So Krishna is like that. He has chalked out a route for us to go back to him. And if sometimes we do take the misturn or the wrong turn, which is the demoniac mentality, let's say, Krishna knows from that particular spot, he is looking at us from the GPS, how to recalibrate our path so that eventually we go back to him. Eventually he'll do the reconfiguration. So the point is that small flake will gather momentum. We keep doing our devotional service in a small way, and one day it will become very big. And trust me, it is becoming big, but it's just that we are not realizing. We know that we are changing. Our demoniac mentalities gradually diminishes, and we become more and more divine as we go. Sometimes it's just not visible. Like when we are traveling on the aeroplane. When we are traveling on the aeroplane, then we see there's a cloud out there, but it seems like neither the aeroplane is moving nor the cloud is moving. Both is static. But when the plane lands, then everything is coming at the speed of 100 kilometers per hour, because by that time the plane is slowed down. So like that, our devotional service is progressing. Trust me. Or we trust us, or we trust Prabhupada, and then it will intensify, and one day we can master it. Okay. So with that, I'll stop here. Any questions, comments, corrections? Yes, Madhaji. Is there a mic, or am I supposed to? There's a mic.
It's regarding to the free will. In the beginning of the class, you mentioned that there are 3 free wills. So I didn't get it, the third one.
Yeah, it was not 3 fields. There are 3 different types of wills, I said, if you want. So one is the Lord's will, whatever the Lord wants to do. The second one is the free will, which is the minute independence He has given us. And the third one, I just coined it by saying evil, E-V-I-L. And evil means demoniac nature. So free will, when it's aligned with God's will, that is a divine nature. When the free will is not aligned with the Lord's will, that is a demoniac nature, and it becomes evil in nature.
Can we say that that can be only the quality of our free will? Because it said, Prabhupada explained that our free will is just our opportunity to choose Krishna's or Maya.
Yeah.
So the quality of our free will be divine or evil.
Well, free will is a choice. Free will is a choice.
So the quality of our choice would be divine
or demonic
or evil.
Correct.
So two only.
Well,
it's
not two buckets. It's a spectrum. We can be criminals or we can be sages, and it's a big spectrum between a criminal and a sage. From a non-devotee to a devotee, and how much we have misused the use of our free will decides where we are on the spectrum. It's a journey. Life is a journey, yeah?
If you allow me, the second question is regarding what that means to be too much free will. The explanation that you said for Hiranyakashipu to kill his own son.
Yes.
Because too much free will. What that means, too much free will?
Too much, I didn't say too much free will, I said misuse of free will. Prabhupada says, that everything evil in the material world is a perverted reflection of the reality in the spiritual world. So for other words, what's the difference between lust and love? The lust is the divine, spiritual nature that's present in the spiritual world, and the perverted reflection of that is lust in the material world. So the source is Krishna only, but the difference between love and lust, love is the proper use of the free will aligned with the Lord's will. Lust is the improper use of the free will which is not aligned with the Lord's will. So it becomes lust. So love and lust, divine and demoniac, it's determined by the misuse or use of free will.
It will be placed in the spectrum that you mentioned about the quality of our choice, the demoniac or evil choice.
Yeah.
So the expression of the tendency to kill your own progeny, it means another part of that spectrum of evil choice.
Of course, and that's probably the heightened level of evil.
Tendency to lord it over of nature.
Correct.
That would be the another expression of that evil choice.
Correct. It's addiction, to power made him completely misuse his free will, to the highest degree, and become so demoniac in nature. Somebody said that life is BCD. Life is BCD. B is for birth. There is no choice. We all take birth. So that's birth. And life is D. D is for death. There is no questions. We were all born. There is no arguments. And we will all die. There is no arguments there. So life is BCD. So what is C? Choice. So there is no choice of birth. There is no choice of death. But in between there is choices. And because of that choices, we can be divine or we can be demoniac. Life is full of choice. No choice of birth, no choice of death. In one sense, because we can decide our next death depending on our karma, but you know what I mean, yeah? In a metaphorical way. But in between is full of choices. So we can choose Krishna or we can choose not to be with Krishna.
Another point, if you allow me to mention, is a beautiful part that you mentioned about Krishna's tendency to uphold his devotees' promise, like a case of Bhishma.
Yeah.
Can we understand the same when Prabhupada, for example, being a pure devotee of Krishna, he expressed that if we endeavor in following the four principles and chanting our rounds, Krishna will compensate whatever is lacking. So for us, going back to Godhead, that is Prabhupada's vouch.
Yeah.
So can we consider that is in the same way?
Yeah, definitely we can. But provided we are sincere, yeah. If we are doing it superficially, then Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Not Bahunam Janma. In the morning prayer, we can chant Krishna's name, for many lifetimes. Bahu Janma Karyadi Sarvanam, Kirtanam. So we can chant for many lives, but we may not go back to Krishna. But like Katonga Maharaj, we can go back to Krishna in a nanosecond. Both examples are there, We can chant forever and not go back to Krishna. And we can chant just in a nanosecond and go back to Krishna. And the examples of Ajamila is also there. There is also there to say the power. People sometimes misuse the pastime of Ajamila to say, no, I can be demoniac in all my life and then just remember Krishna at the end of life and I will go back to Godhead. That pastime is not designed to show that. The purpose of that pastime is to show the power of the holy name. That if we remember Krishna at the end of life, we will go back to Godhead. That's what that pastime is supposed to show. That pastime is not supposed to show that we can be demoniac all our life. Actually, he was a nice Brahmana at the beginning and then he became demoniac. So that is not to encourage us to do wrong things throughout the life and then hope that at the end of my life I'll name my son as Narayana and go back to Godhead. No, that pastime is to show the power of remembering Krishna at the time of death. Just as the pastime of Katwanga Maharaj is to show the power of remembering Krishna purely with one utterance we can go back to Godhead. And in the morning prayers we said it, and many lifetimes we can chant Hare Krishna and not go back to Godhead. So all these particular episodes are to bring out the point about the power of the holy name at any particular point in time. So how do we take it? Prabhupada's vows Krishna will definitely uphold, provided we implement it sincerely by chanting 16 rounds sincerely and by following the 4 regulative principles. So somebody who is just chanted artificially in the sense, not attentively, at the moment the biggest offense to the holy name, 10 offenses we might be okay, but the 11th one, to look at the mobile phone while chanting, that seems to be the biggest problem at the moment, especially during coronavirus. People want to know what's happening. Facebook, WhatsApp, Channel 9, YouTube, while chanting. Prabhupada didn't say, watch YouTube and chant 16 rounds. So yeah, your point is true. Krishna will uphold it, provided we do our part. If we can do, there's sometimes the requirements of bhakti seems very extolling, very lofty. But Krishna tells us, that if we can do what we can do, then He will help us do what we can't do. If we can do what we can do sincerely, if we can sincerely do what we can do, then Krishna will help us do what we can't do at the moment. That promise is there, because He tells us that His devotees will never perish. Yeah? Good points, Mataji. Some points and some questions were there, right? So thank you. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu.
Krishna's pastime is so wonderful that when you mentioned that Lord Krishna and Vishnu's pastime, that regarding the breaking his promise, and our acharyas go to the extent of like he's just churning the rush out of that whole pastime of how Krishna left, broke the promise. Yet at the same time he said he did not break the promise. That view is also there, because Lord Krishna actually did not. The promise broken was that Lord Krishna did not promise to lift a weapon, but actually chariot to the wheel is not considered a weapon. So I just thought I would just comment that. Just like our acharyas, they just churn make it nectarian.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point, Prabhu. Thank you. Prabhupada tells in the Bhagavad Gita as well now that the king is above the law. So he makes the law. So there is nothing such as breaking or following or not following the law, because he is the king. So the Krishna is king. Whatever he does is the law. That is, whatever he does is absolute. Although the absolute truth lies in the Madhavananda. The absolute truth lies. It's an oxymoron. Very beautiful pastime of the Madhavananda. The person who protects us cries in the Madhavananda. No weapons. True. Tavakara Kamalavare Nakham Adbhuta Siringa. Nakham, with his nails, he just ripped apart Hiranyakashipu.
I was just wondering, Prabhu, you said Dhruva Maharaj's mother was bad?
Yeah.
How's that?
Stepmother was bad, no?
Stepmother, yeah.
It's
kind of, it's good. It proved as a blessing for him anyway.
Yeah, of course. Devotees take everything as the blessing of the Lord, no? We can make the best use out of the bad bargain. Yeah, he's his stepmother. What I meant to say is that the impetus for his bhakti Actually, he was coming from the bed, Maharaj. And Dhruv Maharaj saw like that, na? He said, this is a blessing. Oh, not Dhruv Maharaj. I think his real mother, Suniti, na? Suniti was the real one, right? So Suniti said, that take it as a blessing, because this is not a chastisement. Take it as a blessing and continue your Krishna consciousness. And all of them showed, that one flake of snow just ignited and became, Paramahamsas. Okay, should we stop here? We'll stop here. Grantha Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai.